Lovely. All right. So on there, it's a statement I knew as when I was even 8 years old. Intelligent people study science and become doctors. It's something that my whole class knew. I think the whole school knew it. And maybe it must have had something to do with the fact that out of the top 10 kids in the class, they all wanted to study science and become doctors. I was one of those top 10 kids, and I was a bit of a rebel, an outlaw. I didn't want to be a doctor. I wanted to be a veterinary doctor instead. Whole new thing. I remember telling my dad I wanted to be a vet, and his response was, "Minio, koloenio zuepo amebeni enyamebai." In English, why would you want to be a vet? The animals in the zoo are not even fed, and you want to be a vet. On hindsight, probably a good idea, since our local zoos non-existent. So, fast forward a few years, and he takes me to a small British town called Bedford, where I soon learned that, as a matter of fact, this is not the case. Intelligent people do not study science and do not become doctors. I can attribute this to two things. First, I'll call it T block. Okay. Now, this represented my group of friends, which no two of us were from the same country. But we spent time in front of our science block, which was called T block. And everybody knows the coolest kids hang out in front of science blocks. Yeah. So that's where we spent our time. And it also represents for me the opportunity to engage in a lot of extracurricular activities, to realize that people were gifted differently, blessed in various avenues. The second reason was this man, my A-level biology teacher, Mr. Spiropoulos. We'll call him Mr. Spyro. He was built like a Hulk, a rugby player. And he'd still turn up on Monday morning, maybe with a bruise or two, and come and teach us cell biology. Engaging with him over time, I realized that there wasn't a set path. Doing science didn't mean become a doctor. It actually opened up whole new avenues. So from there, I then went on to university at Leicester. I got engaged in more activity, more extracurricular stuff. I got mentored by a supervisor who was amazing. I engaged myself in more opportunity, and that is me when the Leicester City Football Club got promoted to the Premier League. And that is not a photoshopped image. No way, promise you. But anyway, so equipped with this new set of skills and a PhD, I then decided, with a group of people, let's find out, is this still true? Is it still true that in these schools we're finding out that intelligence equals science equals being a doctor? So we ran a few questionnaires, went to a number of schools, and asked the kids that were giving us what their favorite subject was. Over 50% said science. Okay, now I'm assuming the students they gave us were the best students they had, so that makes sense. And almost 50% also wanted to become doctors. I was not surprised. It looks like not much has changed. I wanted to ask them, okay, is this because they don't know of any other professions? And apparently they do. Okay. Yes, when we asked, doctor was the most common response, but you had other responses, engineer, pilot, teacher. Some of the kids even said politician. And some of us are now, as grown-ups, are coming to the realization that, yes, you can study science and go do politics. So, here's our solution. Let's give them T block, okay, in the form of a project called the SHAPE project, Shaping Healthy Attitudes and Promoting the Environment. Decided, give them the chance to get all these opportunities, all these extracurricular activities. We got 104 kids from 16 different schools, put them in 8 teams, and decided, all right, guys, decide on a project in the area of environmental triggers to health conditions. And then we decided to equip them, okay? Did some trainings with them in the area of teamwork, in the area of productivity, and I tell you, you do not know what teamwork is like until you get a group of teenagers to try and untangle themselves from a human chain. We then went on further to give them the opportunity to show themselves. Now, what you're seeing now is Deborah, all right? Deborah says she's brilliant at maths. Her teachers confirmed this. But she doesn't know what career to do with her maths degree or when she gets a maths degree. But then we found out that Deborah is actually brilliant at presenting to an audience. We gave her a challenge where we showed her a picture of a flower. She had 20 seconds just to compose her thoughts, and she gave a 2-minute presentation, which we all responded with standing ovation. Brilliant. So we've equipped these kids, and then we set them loose. All right, so go out there and do your projects. And so far, it's been amazing. They've gone to the seaside to collect data. They've gone to the marketplaces to do questionnaires and surveys. They've had a chance to be on TV. They've been interviewed. Some that wanted to become reporters got a chance to meet a reporter and talk about it. So I think T-Block has very well been executed amongst them. Now the next thing, for me, who was Mr. Spiropoulos, that's Mr. Spiro. For me, he represented that role model, that person who opened up a whole new world and vision. So I wanted to find out, do these kids have role models? About 25% of them said no. And another 25%, their role models were people who were like their siblings or their parents. Okay. Which then means that they are missing this key thing that I had. They are missing someone who just showed me that you could be anything you imagined to be. So along the line of rethink, that is what I want us to do today. I want to ask you, can you be someone's Mr. Spiro? Can you be that person who goes into schools and shows these kids that you can be an engineer and also a CEO of a big business? That you can have an MBA and then also go run a car wash? Can you be a person who tells them that if I have a degree in astrophysics, for example, you can become an astronaut? If I can do this, you can take it and be much more. And it doesn't require a huge reformation of the educational system. It doesn't require huge structures. It doesn't require a group of people to huddle together and do planning meetings. No, it just requires experienced professionals willing to go out there and give a child a vision, an impressionable child a vision. So that's what I want to leave you with, because I see a room full of experienced professionals who could give child a vision, who could have been my Mr. Spiro. So then I ask you, can you be someone's Mr. Spiro? Thank you.